What's up guys, it's Chef Rudakova speaking, and today we'll be talking with you how to set up a sous vide on budget. First of all, what is a sous vide? Sous vide is a French term for a set of cooking machinery that is translated as under vacuum. Ironically, not everything that you cook in a sous vide needs to be vacuumed, although I'm a firm believer in that. I can talk to you for days about the benefits of sous vide and why you need to use it, not just for meat cooking and not just for huge restaurant operations, but for everything. It's basically a very precise method of cooking that you can get exactly the result that you're looking for. But that's the topic of a completely different video, which if you want, let me know in the comments below and I'll make one. With pleasure. And now let's go through the equipment that we can use to cook sous vide so we don't break the bank and we can save a little bit of money. So I would say that there are three main, or actually four, categories of different set of machinery and budgets that you can think about it when you're trying to set up your sous vide operations. The cheapest option out there that you can look into consists of 2 to 3 pieces of equipment, depending if you also want to get the vacuum sealer, which actually applies to all our options, but that we will talk about a little bit later on. So for this option you need to get the PID controller, which basically a thermostat that controls the temperature, and some kind of slow cooker or rice cooker. Using this setup, you can control the temperature of your water bath and simulate the sous vide conditions. The easiest but the most expensive option out there is to go and get an all-in-one kit with everything that you need for the sous vide. So it will include the container, the immersion circulator, the rack and everything. And there are several brands out there that offer such all-in-one kits, for example Anova, that everyone is talking about. So if you have a budget and you don't want too much stress in your life, go and get that kit. It's a no-brainer. However, there is one even more expensive option out there. There are several professional brands that make very powerful immersion circulators that can heat a very large amount of water in a large water bath and circulate this water continuously for a long period of time. The only time when you can actually think about this option is if you are planning to get a sous vide for restaurant operations, if you're going to use sous vide all the time and you need to cook a lot of food in it and you need to make a long time investment. But the option that I really want to talk to you about today, the option that I'm using myself, is the middle budget option, which I was able to get thanks to my Patreon and members. So let's go through it. What do we have here? Here we have the most important tool is the immersion circulator, and this one is a no brand, which is way less expensive than the ones that are brand circulators, and you can get one on Amazon. And the price that you should be looking for is around $50 to $60 plus the VAT. The thing that's important to look for in your immersion circulator is the power of it. So depending on the amount of sous vide that you want to cook, on the size of your container, which you can actually get afterwards, but yeah, let's talk about this a little bit later. And also look for the protective cage that protects the heating element. So here I have one, this is my protective cage and this is my heating element. And that's basically it. Oh, no, one more thing. The thing that I don't have on my immersion circulator, but which I found would be actually very handy. Some of them, they have the adjustable height. It goes over here and you can adjust the height depending on the width of your container. So if I had an option, I would definitely get one. But I came up with my DIY solution, which I'll show you later on. The second most important thing to think about when setting up your sous vide is the vessel. The vessel where you're gonna make your water bath. And yes, many people, they would go for just the large stainless steel pot, which you might already have in your kitchen, so you don't need to invest extra money into that. And that's a good option. However, bear in mind that the walls of the metal pot, they are very good conductors of heat. So you will be losing a lot of heat and spending a lot of electricity and probably take more time to cook your food properly if you use the metal pot. So I personally went for the plastic container. The main two things that you should think about when choosing your plastic container are the size of the container. The bigger the size, the more time and the more energy you will need to waste or spend on heating the water inside this container, but you can also make a lot of food. And the second thing is the thickness of your plastic container. As you can see, my plastic container is already filled up with water and it's not bloating at all, and it's not becoming elastic, which is exactly what I'm looking for in my plastic container sous vide setup. I have to be honest here, I could not find any of these type of containers in the DIY stores or available to the public. So this one I got from the specialty store for chefs, and it costed me about $5. I have also seen some of them available on Amazon, so do check them out as well. However, this one was the specialty one for chefs. In order to illustrate to you the importance of the thickness of your plastic container, I'm going to show you my previous plastic container that I've been using for my earlier videos, as you might have noticed. And this one I've got from the DIY hardware store, available to everyone. I thought it's thick enough, but as you can see how much it bloated from me using sous vide with water. It also was too big for me, so I spent a lot of energy on heating up the water, so I would go and prefer this one. Since we are talking right now about the vessel for your water bath, we should also be talking about some kind of coverage for it. And I've read in my comments that some people are not using any kind of coverage, which is not very wise, because you will be losing a lot of heat and energy and actually water itself from the evaporation. So you always be needing to fill it up when you're using it for a long period of time, which is the case for most of the cooking using sous vide. And here is the cheapest option that you can use in the short term. And this one would be to use a plastic wrap or a foil, so you can cover your sous vide like this around and prevents the water from evaporation. And yes, it is cheaper on the short run, but it's a disposable element, so you will have to throw it out and get a new one, and it's not very good for the environment. So instead, I would go and get the plastic lid as well, which is actually not expensive at all. As you can see here, the lid that I have is quite a DIY type of lid, which used to be a regular lid for a regular container. So what I did here, I drilled a hole, which is a perfect fit for my sous vide by chance. And I also cut it in two, so I can open it up like this without losing too much heat, and I can check the doneness of my food. You don't need to do it, you can get an already made container specifically for sous vide, and I've checked there are some on Amazon for around $15 to $20, which would be a little bit more expensive than what I've spent. I've spent only $5, but it's up to you. And that's it. These are the two main tools that you need to use as sous vide. However, since we are talking about the sous vide, we also need to talk about vacuum sealer and vac packs. Yes, you might find a lot of information out there that people are using just regular Ziplocs and they are not vacuum sealing the food when they're cooking the sous vide. But this will eliminate many of the benefits of cooking in the sous vide, which is providing the controlled cooking environment. And air is not the best option out there. So I would definitely go for the vac sealer and vac packs. The vacuum sealer that I'm using is the Edge vacuum sealer, and it's the cheapest vacuum seal out there, but it has its limitations. The one that I have is the No brand as well, and I actually got it in the set together with my immersion circulator for a total amount of $100, which I think is a great deal. And what you need to look for when you're choosing your Edge sealer, if you decide to go for one, is the length of it, and also that it has the option to vacuum, because some of them they just seal. So I decided to go for the larger length, just in case if I want to seal and vacuum in the future bigger bags, or if I really want to, I can put several bags at the same time and seal 2 bags or 3 bags. But bear in mind here that the professional kitchens, if they have the budget, they should definitely go for the chamber sealer. It works a little bit differently from the Edge sealer like I have. And it's also more expensive, and it also takes a lot of space. So I personally don't even have so much space in my kitchen. So I went for the edge sealer. The biggest limitation that edge sealer has is when working with liquids. So if you have any liquids inside your vacuum bag, it is a very high chance that they will leak out when you're vacuuming. How it happens? Because the edge sealer, it sucks the air out of the bag, and some of the liquids, they can get inside and they will make everything dirty, and it might not even seal. But there are some tricks to that, and we can go through this in the future videos, so let me know if you want to listen to that in the comments down below. And how the chamber sealer works on the contrast to the edge sealer, all the air in the chamber is sucked out. So the air pressure on the outside of the bag, on the inside, is more or less the same, and this prevents the bag from collapsing and the liquids from leaking outside the bag. Since we've just got our edge sealer, we should also get some backpacks. And the ones that I usually use for the edge sealer are the one with the waffle texture, which you typically have around 5 layers, and that makes them very durable. The one that I have is the roll, actually, not the bags, but the roll. So I can cut it to the size that I want, depending on the food that I'm cooking, and seal it and go ahead with it. You can also get it in bags, and yes, you can also use normal BPA-free plastic bags as well. The one that I have is from Amazon Basics, which was around $16. And that's it. That's basically the whole set of equipment that you are going to need to cook sous vide successfully. So to sum up, the most expensive option out there will cost you around $300, which is the pre-made set of equipment for the sous vide from some kind of brands. The cheapest option out there with the PID controller will cost you around $60 to $80, and the middle suite option that I have will cost you around $130 to $150. So now the choice is yours. Thank you for watching, and if you continue doing so, in a couple of minutes I'm going to show you how do I set up my sous vide equipment and how do I get it going.